This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Leaping at the wall, it's gone! A towering drive into center field by Rooker.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
A judgy and blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right, away back into the second deck.
Bobby Witt Jr. becomes the first shortstop in Major League history to have two 30-30 seasons.
Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to walk-off dingers to Hall of Fame talk. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of A's Cast Live. Can you pot my mic up a little bit? There you go. Hope everybody is doing well as we're going to get you ready for Game 2 of the Athletics and the Halos down in Southern California. We've got a great show for you coming up here. We're going to have Assistant General Manager Billy Owens, who is, without a doubt, one of the greatest comp givers in the history of the game. Like, he can take any player that you talk about, whether it's an A's player or somebody else, and give them a comp to either a guy that recently played, a yesteryear guy. Billy and I are about the same age. I think he's a year or two older, so he can really get into 80s and 70s guys, and then he can go way, way back. But there is never a time where Assistant General Manager Billy Owens, you say, this player, X player, reminds you of who. He will always have somebody. It is fabulous. Shooty Babbitt's going to join me for the interview. Two A's front office guys. We want to have Shooty to be a part of it today. And, of course, Shooty will join me coming up at 6 o'clock on A's Cast on NBC Sports California. We're going to have Mark Langston on. Mark Langston, obviously, what a career he had as a left-handed pitcher. At one time was the highest paid guy in all of baseball when they first started giving out those $4 million contracts a year. Mark Langston is also special to this program because he also is a former San Jose State Spartan baseball player. He's the greatest player ever in our program's history in the Bay Area. He was also known as a soccer legend. He was one of the best youth soccer players all the way through high school in all of Santa Clara County. Mark Langston was the dude back in the day. You talk about a left-handed pitcher who everybody knew was going to be lights out, and he's such a great athlete. He's like top soccer player. That's who Mark Langston was, an unbelievable athlete, soccer player and star pitcher. And then, of course, would end up at San Jose State. And then, all-star,
4-time all-star,
Gold Glove winner.
7.
I mean, he did it all. He was the man. And then we'll have Johnny for hot takes. Cody Elias with us here. Do you have the hot take?
Oh, do I have a hot take? I do have a hot take. Yeah.
Who is it on? Just so we know we're not going the same way.
Mine's on Denzel Clarke. If someone has Denzel Clarke, then I'll switch.
You guys are going chalk.
I have another one.
Johnny's going to be he's going to win the Gold Glove. You guys are going chalk.
Oh, okay, I'll use a different one then, because that's what mine was.
Of course it is. It's chalk. It's easy.
I got a different one. It's a national one.
It's a what?
It's a national take.
Okay. So you'll go an A's Denzel Clarke. I'm going to go an American League pitcher.
Oh, mine's a national take. I'm moving out Denzel.
I'm actually going to give somebody a little props, a little credit today from a team that I absolutely despise and hate. And I know hate is a strong word, as my kids used to say when they were younger. Daddy hates it's a team I hate.
I think I might know where you're going.
But I'm going to give some love. So I will do that a little bit later today. Denzel Clarke. I had the whole show planned last night as I was walking out of the TV studio because I knew we are going to in Anaheim, and we are going to play Denzel Clarke in Anaheim because there is something about being next to Disney or the Duck Pond or whatever you want to talk about down in Anaheim. A's outfielders do incredible things in Anaheim. It's unbelievable. We're going to make some comparisons to A's greats. We're going to use some defensive metrics a little bit later of how good Denzel Clarke is, but you've been watching him. It's unbelievable. And then also a little bit later today, we're going to talk about, we got the date set for the groundbreaking. There is already work being done. Foundation already being laid in Vegas. The reason why we're having this date, because I know we have these people on Twitter. These people on Twitter, I get it. I've never told you not to be angry. I get it. You lost your team. Be angry. I understand. But they are going to be angry forever. So there's been why is it take? Because of all the politicians, there's going to be a lot of people at the groundbreaking here on the 23rd. It's a day off. A lot of the team's going to be there. We will be there. There's a lot going on, but there's already stuff happening at the site in Vegas. And no, it's just not pushing dirt. We've already seen pictures. There's stuff being done. So the stuff you're seeing on Twitter, X, it is what it is. But we will be there. The announcement has been made. It's going to be a big deal. And we're already going to see a lot of the progress that has been made on the site. The groundbreaking basically has already happened, but the show is now going to be on the 23rd. So it's going to be exciting. We're going to talk about that. We just made our flights. We got it down. We're going to be heading to Las Vegas. Going to have, there's going to be so many politicians and so many people in Nevada, because it's just not, you're just not dealing with Las Vegas when you deal with Nevada. All the counties, unlike other states, all the counties, and we learned this first with how the Raider deal went down, all the counties are connected because of gambling and something else. And we won't bring that up, but it's just, well, it is legal. Prostitution is legal. That's how all the counties were connected all these years. And obviously the capital is up, and you got to do business up in Carson City. So everybody is connected, right? So you have to get everybody down there. It's a lot harder than, the Niners building in Santa Clara. You got to take care of all the Santa Clara people, or the Warriors. When they did it, they got to take care of the San Francisco people. This, you got to take care of everybody in the state. It's a whole different deal in Nevada. So that's why it's taken some time to find when you can have them all ready to go. But it's going to be June 23rd. Going to be a lot of fun down in Vegas. Are you telling me to get a giddy up here?
Yeah, we got to.
I was just getting going.
Well, we got Billy O. There's a lot of good stuff with Billy O.
Denzel Clarke is the story of baseball. I went and checked. I tape MLB Central every morning. That's a morning show on MLB Network, MLB Now. Everybody is talking about Denzel Clarke. I didn't think anybody could bump Jacob Wilson off the headline. I didn't think it was possible. But Denzel Clarke right now has done that with his defense. It is unbelievable. So we reached out to the great Billy Owens, assistant general manager of the Athletics. We'll talk Billy Owens. We're going to talk Jacob Wilson. You name it. We are talking about these kids who are the future, but they are the now, right now, for this organization. Here is Billy O. Well, now joining us here on A's Cast Live. I don't know if you know this, Shooty, but where I live, this man is a legend. It was not that long ago. I was at a high school graduation party about a week and a half, and a fellow Bellarmine graduate told me that Billy Owens is the greatest high school player he's ever seen. Of course, not only did he star in football and baseball at Bellarmine Prep down in San Jose, went on to have a great career at the University of Arizona, then in the minor leagues, getting all the way to AAA. But we know him as a talent evaluator, nobody better, assistant general manager of the Athletics, Billy Owens. Billy O, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, guys. Great to see you guys, Tootie, Towny, and Shooty, man. How you guys doing?
We are doing well, and we got a couple players that are the huge buzz in all of baseball right now. Originally, we thought we were going to start out with this whole thing talking Jacob Wilson because everybody's talking about how great he is, but Denzel Clarke, once again, my God, the catch in Anaheim was unreal. Ed Sprague, who you know so well and work with, when we had him on here, he said, the only kind of comp I got for him as an athlete, that kind of athleticism, is Bo Jackson. And now that we have seen it, nothing shocks us anymore. Just when you see Denzel play and what you've known, just talk about how this is one of the best athletes you've ever seen.
Yeah, really best. I mean, putting on a baseball uniform, thought about it last night after, the play was kind of like Vinsanity. Vince Carter, the great basketball player, and we remember the dunk contest all the way back in 2001. He kind of put his hands up in the air after doing some stuff that we literally have never seen before. But as far as a size, speed, strength, agility component, is probably Megatron. Calvin Johnson, Hall of Fame wide receiver, Detroit Lions, 6'5". Just read this morning, actually prepping for this, that I think there's been like 3 guys at the combine, NFL combine, that run like a 4.3, 6'5" or taller, and that's kind of the athleticism that Denzel portrays out there. It's Megatron. It's Calvin Johnson.
You know what? I was making the comp of, from a football standpoint, he reminds me of Randy Moss. They're both 6'4". He's a little bit heavier than Randy Moss, but we used to see Randy Moss put that hand up, right, when he'd get past the DB, and you knew it was quarterback was throwing it to him, and it was going to be a touchdown. When he's jumping over that wall like that, I'm thinking Randy Moss.
Yeah, no, Randy Moss is a freak athlete. I mean, and honestly, Randy Moss crossed my mind this morning as well. I kind of went back and forth, the true freak Randy Moss or Megatron, and I settled on Megatron. I think Megatron's a tick taller, pretty much as physical as Denzel is. But yeah, I mean, that's the comparison. It's Megatron, Calvin Johnson, it's Randy Moss, it's Vince Carter, Vinsanity. It's unreal athleticism and strength.
First of all, I know a lot more about Billy Owens than you probably know.
Did you scout him?
My dad always told me not to talk about yourself. Let other people do so. So my tenure in scouting for 32 years now, I'm a little older than Billy, but I've been knowing who he was and is for a long time. And your reputation precedes you, and his has been earned. Not only the magnificent player, the brilliant guy from Bellarmine Prep down your way. Did you go to Bellarmine Prep? Anyway.
Well, what the hell does that do? I grew up in San Diego.
I'm just trying to let you know how
I played against him when he was at the University of Arizona. A lot of my teammates were Bellarmine guys at San Jose State.
My point is, I just want to give Billy his props today. So proud of you, Billy. You are. I don't have to speak for you. You know, everyone knows who you are. Just by talking about Denzel, it just goes to show you the work that you put in, putting together a report, representing or presenting a player, and you talk about all the comparisons and all the things that go in the recipe to make the player that you end up choosing. A player like Denzel, who wasn't a 1-1, he wasn't a first-round pick, he wasn't the first guy. There are things that we all watch when we're scouting, but only a few see some of the things that are seen in a guy like Denzel. So when you saw Denzel, and we look at Denzel, he's 26 years old, and I figured all the different sports and different things that he's done in his life, he never got a chance to play baseball full time, so it's quite natural for the bat to be a little late, but man, oh man, it's arriving very quickly. When you see a kid like Denzel, which you don't see anywhere, he's unique, he's different, he's like Jacob Wilson. They're different. You can compare him all day long, but you can't say he's just like. But Denzel's definitely a feather in your cap. And for you to step out on a limb on a guy who pretty much a lot of people didn't say, oh, here's a baseball player with a lot of tools. No, this is a guy with a skill set that I don't know what it's going to end up being. But for you to see it come to fruition like this today, I know you got to be pretty proud.
Yeah, and honestly with Denzel, being fortunate to see Denzel at a high school, and so getting a glimpse of, he's cousins with Bo Naylor, the Naylor twin brothers out there, both in the major leagues, but having a glimpse of Denzel Clarke in high school, and then Eric Kubota doing a tremendous job of identifying the tools of Denzel, sending me, I actually saw Denzel play. It was Cal State Northridge. Actually, they were home against Cal State Fullerton, but having the visual of seeing Denzel in high school to 3 years later of the improvements that he made in those 3 years is pretty astonishing. And then couple that with the freak athleticism, and you're seeing a glimpse of what he's going to be able to do. Because, yeah, it's astonishing. The defense, I believe the offense will come. It'll come probably a little bit later, but it's coming. I mean, he can recognize a pitch. The power is unreal. And so the complete player will eventually be here. But going from what he looked like in high school to Cal State Northridge, from A-ball, AA, AAA, to seeing that play last night in the major leagues and seeing the strides he's made offensively so far, it's pretty amazing. And the kid's got a really tremendous work ethic. His background, his mother was a heptathlete in the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles. His father actually has Olympic background as well. He's got the Naylor brothers in the major leagues, and he also has some cousins that played in the Canadian professional football league too. So, yeah, I mean, this guy's made from outer space. I think Megatron is just 6'5". I mean, if there's a 100-yard dash in Major League Baseball, I'd put, my money be on Denzel. So I think that, maybe a couple quicker guys that might get out the blocks in the first 10 yards, but those long strides he'd win that 100-yard dash, and he'd win the vertical and the agility and athleticism and the work ethic. It's going to put that all the pieces together, and he's going to be a phenomenal player.
Yeah, there's no question. It is a track athlete type skill set playing center field. It is incredible. Also incredible. Jacob Wilson, Billy O, the last week, we have brought up names, whether it's Tony Gwynn, Wade Boggs, Don Mattingly, Robin Yount. Then he's doing stuff that we got to go back in this organization to Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons. We're going to the early 1900s. It's amazing all these different names that have come up when you start talking about, well, he's doing this and he's doing this and he can match that or he can pass that. You're talking about the greats of the greats. Are you surprised at all what he has done so far this year?
Yeah, actually, we talked about this a year ago. I mean, I played against Derek Jeter in the minor leagues. Derek Jeter and Jacob Wilson, they were both the 6th overall pick of the Major League Draft, 30 years apart. And 6'3", lithe build, going to fill out, innate hand-eye coordination, kind of that aw shucks but serious demeanor, focused. I mean, it's a unique skill set. And, playing against the captain, Derek Jeter, pretty much his whole minor league career, it was 2 or 3 years, but I played against him every step of his journey in the minor leagues. And scouting Jacob Wilson, I mean, seeing him 2021 at Grand Canyon was a COVID year, so you couldn't fly until April that year. So Grand Canyon actually matched up against really good teams, and living in Phoenix, saw the kid, Jeff Erlap did an awesome job, area scout that signed him, that saw 15 or 20 games, and he was hitting 400 plus as a freshman. You knew he had to fill out. And then the next year as a sophomore, I remember just going out scouting all these other games across the country. And about May, I wanted to peek at the stats. I was kind of curious, what the sophomore Grand Canyon was doing. And I saw that he was hitting 4+ and had only struck out 3 times at that time with 200 at bats. And so you kind of pictured that Derek Jeter, performance. And, it's a different market. It's Sacramento compared to New York City. It's 30 years apart. But I played against one of those guys up close and personal, saw his father, Jack, play a lot. Jacob Wilson reminds me of Derek Jeter.
Billy, looking at the position you're in.
By the way, he's a pretty good player, Derek Jeter. He had a nice little career.
Different, real. And I've used those words time and time again over Jacob Wilson. Good hitters get a lot of hits and they don't make a lot of outs. And They make hard contact, and this dude just is in position all the time. It seems like he's never off balance. He's always in the at-bat, seems to always be ahead of the count. If he gets behind in the count, he could foul pitches off and extend at bats. I mean, it's just an elite skill that he has. Bill, you know, we're in different times right now. A lot of times you identify a kid like that might be younger, but now these kids are getting there in a hurry. And for the most part, they're expected to perform. As an evaluator like you are, I mean, what's the toughest challenge for kids when you go out and identify, knowing that more than likely, if they're that elite player, it's going to be a maybe 1 or 2 year look in the minor leagues, and we're going to get you to the big leagues right away? Is that something that goes into your mindset when you're out acquiring players now, or is it always just, hey, we're going to get the best player and we'll get him and fit him in where he fits in?
I think you want to get the best player for sure, regardless of the timeline. But just where we were in the standings the last couple years, we picked in the top 10. And so, you know, Jacob Wilson had a unique skill set. I mean, he led NCAA in contact rate 2 years in a row. His father played the major leagues. He played the same position as his father, and he had an unreal ability that I believe the athletics organization identified because, you know, in that year of the draft, it was – perception was there was supposed to be a big five per se. And we were picking 6 and guys were talking about what are you going to do at 6 because it's really a big 5. And do you want, you know, one of those guys to slide to you? But honestly, selfishly, I was always hoping that Jacob Wilson was the guy because that skill set, the background, the demeanor, thought it definitely was unique. You know, I go back to my scouting report. I talked about how, I mean, he was raised by his father, and I think he went to PNC Park. But I think after batting practice every day, he snuck in the TV lounge and he watched Derek Jeter play as well. Because I mean, the skill set is eerily reminiscent to that, and he's got a couple inches on Jack too. So, and then also in the top 10, the year before, I mean, the next year, Nick Kurtz. This guy was, you know, Wake Forest had 2 top 20 overall picks, Brock Wilkin and Rhett Lauder, when Nick Kurtz was a sophomore. And so going to see those 2 guys play, and they're Lauder played and pitched in the big leagues already, and Wilkins having a great year in AA. But at Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh, Nick Kurtz hit a ball that, you know, shooting we played, they talk about how Willie Stargell hit 2 balls out of, you know, Dodger Stadium, and you go to this other park and Bo Jackson did this, and Nick Kurtz hit a ball that, you know, is a 27-year scout, 8-year minor league player, decent hitter myself. He hit a ball that I'm not sure that I've ever seen before. And so after looking at, you know, Lauder and Wilkin and, you know, the rest of that talented Wake Forest crew, you know, this Nick Kurtz guy is for real. So from a timeline perspective, you know, picking in the top 10, you know, Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson are unique players.
Yeah, you start talking about, you know, throw Lawrence Butler in there, and you start looking at all these young players, this core. I mean, this core has got to help this team win and dig out of where we are right now, but it also shows you the future is so bright. Talk about Luis Morales down at AAA in Las Vegas. You know, he's gotten called up. We know the Cuban is a big part of the future. What have you seen with this right-handed pitcher?
Yeah, really, Luis Morales and Jack Perkins. I mean, Morales, 22 years old, got that little El Duque machismo about him, confident kid. You know, he could bring the heater up to 98, 99, got a solid changeup, really good breaking stuff. A lot of strikes, aggressive in the zone, got some flavor to him, really good pitcher. And Jack Perkins, I mean, Jack Perkins got – his stuff's elite. I mean, he's really got – I think he's got like 5 pitches. He's 97 to 100. Fastball's not straight. He's got like a nasty curveball, a really good slider. They got a sweeper, they call it now, a dynamic changeup. So Jack Perkins is really, really nasty. Luis Morales is upper echelon prospect. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting to see those two components. And we got a glimpse of JT Ginn so far. I mean, Ginn, he's got a dynamic sinker. I mean, if you go back across the bay, Logan Webb's got that, that nasty, sink on him. Ginn's got a dominant pitch like that. He's got to put the other components together, but he's got real ingredients. So Perkins, Morales, Ginn, definitely in that next wave of arms, and they'll be here soon.
And Gabe Jump, too, what he's doing at Double-A. So there's a whole lot of talent down there.
Hey, Jump's a bad boy. I mean, Jump is he might jump on in pretty soon, too, now. I mean, this guy's lefty California kid, spent a little time at UCLA, but went to LSU, who's playing my Arizona Wildcats bear down in the College World Series. But, Gabe's Jump is real. I mean, that's 3 pitches. It's left-handed. Honestly, the kid last night, Kikuchi from the Angels, Gage Jump is very similar stuff, style, delivery, components to Kikuchi, Gage Jump.
Billy O, nobody better in the business. We always love having you on, man. You're looking TV ready. We're gonna have to get you. We're gonna get you up to West Sacramento and get you on the TV booth. You look good, man. Ready to go.
And
got the suits ready for that television time anytime.
The best report writer in baseball, hands down.
Shooty says I got to read some of your reports.
I can't let him in the Bible like that.
You see Jacob Wilson, that Derek Jeter's right there now. It's prominent.
Billy O, you are the best. You're a legend, my friend. We'll check in with you soon, and obviously the draft is right around the corner.
Looking forward to it, man. Bear down, Arizona. Go A's.
All right.
Billy Owens, Assistant General Manager for the Athletics, right here on A's Cast Live. I just want to educate everybody on something real quick, because it was said last night on the broadcast. You just said it to me. You say, I have the actual official Major League Baseball that was sent to us this year. How do you pronounce Yusei, the left-handed pitcher that pitched last night for the Angels?
The guide you have in front of me says Kikuchi.
Kikuchi. Not Ka, not Kai, it's Kikuchi. So I know when I said it on the pregame and the postgame and also on A's Cast, you might be listening and go, wait a minute, I heard Kikuchi. It's not Kikuchi. It's Kikuchi. K-E-Y dash capital K, capital O dash lowercase C-H-E. Kikuchi. That's how it's pronounced. Everybody keeps calling him Kikuchi. There's no Ka. It's Ki.
Correct.
Just throwing it out there. Billy Owens is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. We got to go.
We got another San Jose legend coming up next.
Oh, my God. The greatness, the absolute greatness, Mark Langston. Do we need to pause for station identification? Where are we? Let's pause for station identification right here on A's Cast. Coming up next, Mark Langston from Anaheim right here on A's Cast Live.
Calling all kids ages 4 to 15. Join the A's and the Rivercats for our free, family-friendly Play Ball Weekend event in West Sacramento. Saturday, June 14th, from 10 a.m. to noon at the Alice Norman Bright Playfields. Enjoy baseball and softball skill stations, games, giveaways, face painting, and more. Your favorite mascots, Stomper and Dinger, will be there. Space is limited, so register today at athletics.com/playball. That's athletics.com/playball.
A's Cast Live continues from NBC Sports. Here's Chris Townsend.
New A's Hall of Famer Tim Hudson joined Chris Townsend on A's Cast Live to talk about his relationship with Mark Mulder and Barry Zito.
I mean, honestly, I think it would be kind of strange if we didn't get an honor like this all together at the same time. You know, I think we were all pretty much, you know, if you mentioned one, you And I love that. I love the fact that we were kind of linked into that group together. And, there's a lot of comparisons, us three, to, a lot of the great pitching staffs that Atlanta Braves had back in the day. And me being from the South and being a Braves fan growing up, I knew that was a pretty big deal to be compared to those three guys. And and I really do think that there was a moment where the three of us, I think we could have matched up with anybody almost in the history of the game in a rotation, because I felt like at any moment Zito was going to go out there and throw a no-hitter, or Mulder was going to go out there and throw a no-hitter. They were going to get a ton of swings and misses. And, I felt like it was a pretty special, run of 3 or 4 years that we all three had together. And, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was so much fun to be a part of. And I was a better pitcher for it, for sure.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/AceCast.
AceCast.
Here's the pitch, and it's a hit. Folsom Lake Ford has stepped up again, winning the Triple Crown Award, Ford Motor Company's highest honor, now 7 years in a row. Folsom Lake Ford is a top sales leader in the U.S., along with being top in customer satisfaction, in sales, service, and finance. Now that's a home run. Don't miss the huge savings on your favorite models at your truck headquarters. Folsom Lake Ford, in the Folsom Auto Mall.
AceCast Live continues from NBC Sports. Here's Chris Townsend.
All right, we're going to head down to Southern California.
I got to text Langston. I made a mistake. I sent him the wrong link. So give me a second. I realized, I was like, why is he usually there pretty on time? So I'm going to message him right now.
Well, I would do all that before you. By the way, just to give you an idea of what Denzel Clarke is doing, and is anybody taking notice, these are the MLB Network notes that are given to everybody in baseball every day. And every single game, they go through the games, they give you notes on each team. This is the front page. I don't know why the print is blurry, but you can see the 3 different catches of Denzel Clarke. Front page. So everybody in baseball receives these notes every single day. So on the front of it, I don't know why it's blurred, but it's got the people who put it together. Happy birthday, MLB Network's own Sierra Santos. But it says, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Denzel Clarke. The A's outfielder made another unbelievable catch to rob Nolan Shanaway of a home run in the first inning on Monday night. He has made a trio of Superman-esque plays in the first 16 games of his career. So you can't see the print, but you can see the pictures.
I have the video if you want me to play it.
Well, I just want people to know that, I mean, everybody in the game is paying attention to what this guy is doing. It is 16 games of just brilliance. And we're going to bring up Dwayne Murphy. What Dwayne had, what, 6 Gold Gloves? 6
straight, yeah.
So Dwayne Murphy is probably the greatest outfielder we have known for the Athletics in modern day. We were just trying to think like, because you can't go back and compare, like, let's take Willie Mays. Willie Mays was 5'10". Now, Willie Mays went and got everything, but Willie Mays couldn't jump like that. And the same thing for Mickey Mantle before he hurt his knee. Mickey was known as being so fat, but these guys can't. You're not jumping like a guy who's 6'4", 220, who's like Denzel Clarke has track. He basically has track skills playing baseball. It's unbelievable. And the only guy that I could find that was really his size, and there's a lot of guys you can go, but the only guy that I could find that is the size that's somewhat comparable is Dale Murphy, if you can believe it. Dale Murphy, who was absolutely incredible, won 2 MVPs for the Atlanta Braves. A lot of people think he should be in the Hall of Fame. Dale Murphy was, some list him at 6'5", some list him at 6'4". Now, Dale Murphy couldn't run like this and jump like that. Ken Griffey Jr. 6'3". But the one thing that you really notice, I didn't look at Griffey's weight. That's the thing that really puts Denzel Clarke in a world of his own, is he's 6'4", 220. Let's see what they have. Griffey was 6'3". Look at Griffey. Griffey's 6'3". What do you think Griffey he weighed?
185.
195. Like, to me,
seems kind of small.
The comp to me is Randy Moss, and it's a completely different sport. You just heard me say that with Billy Owens. And Randy Moss, according to Pro Football Reference, was 210. Denzel Clarke's 220. This is an amazing athlete at 6'4", 220, with blazing speed and leaping ability, all of a track athlete, because we know of his background, of his parents, especially his mother being an Olympic track athlete. The Naylor brothers, who are his cousins, they look nothing like track athletes. They run nothing like track athletes. Josh Naylor will never be thought of as a guy who's going to be a part of the track team. This kid is amazing. It is fun to watch. I can't remember the last time I have said, I can't wait to see what this guy does defensively in the outfield. Coco was good. Josh Reddick was good. Just trying to think. I mean, Ricky Anderson was pretty good and left. I mean, these guys didn't do this kind of stuff. Coco ran into walls. Unfortunately, when Coco ran into a wall, it was going to be an IL stint. But I love me some Coco.
The last guy to win a Gold Glove for the A's was Reddick in the outfield.
And this is a different animal. Reddick had a very good arm. Reddick was a terrific outfielder. This is different.
No, we got Mark Langston now.
And now what you're thinking about with Denzel Clarke, I mean, my God, it's incredible. Do we have the greatest San Jose State baseball player of all time?
No. Stop.
Do we have the Gold Glove winner, the All-Star? The great Mark Langston is with us here on A's Cast Live. How are you?
CT, I am great. How are you?
Things are good. I mean, the season's not going the way we thought it was going to go, but you got to see, and you've been in this game a long time, you got to see last night the 2 players, well, actually 3 players are really exciting everybody. You already knew about Lawrence Butler. You're now really getting a chance to see Jacob Wilson, but the new one you're getting to see, it's an all-world talent, Jake, what you're seeing with Denzel Clarke. So now that you've seen it up close, what do you think of Denzel?
That last night, again, I've seen a lot of baseball. I've been around this game for a long time, since '84 at the major league level. That, I think, goes down as the greatest catch I have ever, with my own 2 eyes, have ever seen last night, where he went up, and I thought he was going to fly over the fence like Superman. I don't know how he was still able to hold on to the fence. Went over, extends. The extension part, I think, is going to get overlooked, because half his body's over the fence. Then he extends as far as he possibly can to pull that one back. And I saw Jimmy Edmonds' great catch that he had with the Angels in Kansas City. That one tops it. That one right there, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. The fact, I didn't even think he caught it. Because we saw Julio Rodriguez in this series before jump up, comes down. We don't know if he catches it or not. He's got to play a little game and make sure everybody's looking at him. Then he shows you the baseball. So I wasn't sure he caught it, but he showed it fairly quick. He was pounding his chest. Unbelievable. And I saw the one that he had in that Orioles series too, where that one actually might top that one last night. But unbelievable talent. To see a guy, so many things have to fall into place when you rob a home run. The timing has to be perfect.
your extension, everything. You have to be right on the specific point. He did all of those things last night. Unreal to be able to witness that.
And we've shown it now at so many different angles, as you mentioned. Once he is so high up and has almost more than half of his body up there, most people are flipping right over, and who knows? It never looks like at any point he was going to flip over the wall. He had such body control, and that's why I've been saying, I said it last night on television on NBC where we're doing the post-game show. I'm saying it on this show today. It's basically, and I don't know if you know the history, if you guys talked about his mother being a track star for the Canadian Olympic team. So it's basically, this is a track skill set playing in center field. I don't know if we've ever seen that.
I agree. When you have that speed and power and the size of his body too, it all plays into being a spectacular outfit. But you got to be fearless. When you are playing center field and you're going to do things like that, and what he did in that Orioles series, you have to be fearless that I'm going to catch this no matter what, keeping my eyes just directly on this baseball, totally focused on that object, not taking your eyes off anything. You have to have that. But with that being said, at some point, everybody's going to go, you need to pull back on the reins a little bit because we need you out there. The more you run into the wall like you did in that Orioles series, the more chances that you won't be on the field. So, I've seen so many great catches. Ken Griffey Jr. running into the wall. I saw here at the Big A, Claudette Washington over the short wall in right field, leap over the short wall, pulls it down, comes back up with the baseball, and he had mustard all over the white jersey. It was fantastic. But last night was just different level, totally different level.
Well, and then I want to get your opinion on Jacob Wilson, because obviously you played against Wade Boggs, you played with Tony Gwynn, and we keep doing these things. Rod Carew was an angel. I mean, we're seeing these hits. It's like every night it's 2-3 hits, 2-3 hits, 2-3 hits. It's just something that's just special. I don't know how much you've been able to see of him. Obviously, his father was an all-star. His father had 200 hits in the big leagues, but this kid is just his bat to ball skills it's just different.
It is, and we haven't seen a lot because in that series we played up in Sacramento, he got hurt and didn't play the last two games. So seeing him last night, and then you start looking at the numbers, you're like going, wait a minute, he must have been on the IL, and these numbers are just now coming back, and you start looking at all of them, you're like, no, he is up to speed. It's impressive to see. And I said he's probably has the most nervous energy in the batter's box that I've ever seen. Everything is moving, and all of a sudden, right when the pitch comes, it all stops. And then, boy, as you mentioned, the bat-to-ball skills look very impressive for a young hitter. And this is such a difficult sport at this level, and to be doing it night after night after night is really hard. Because once they find that hole here at the major league level, they exploit it, and they will punch it. They will punch that ticket every night, and so you have to constantly make changes. But to see so far where we are in the season and to see that he's still climbing is impressive.
I got to tell you, Ron Washington obviously is special to our organization. And when the Angels were up at the ballpark in West Sacramento, we had him on the show. And he talked about challenging and doing some tough things with the young players last year, going, you're going to have to play a lot of games, and you're going to have to learn how to play through some things, and you got to learn how to play at this level. And he believes it's starting to pay off this year. The magic of Wash, we'll see what happens by the end of the season, but it seems like training these young players, as the A's, we're talking about our young players. The Angels have some fabulous young players I know you guys are talking about every night.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Zach Neto, our shortstop, we love him as much as you guys love Jacob Wilson. Very talented young man, great defensively. I always start there because you're talking to a pitcher. I want to see the defense at that position. Yeah. And certainly Zach Neto checks all the boxes. And he plays shortstop the way the modern day player plays it. They're always constantly on the move. They're never stationary. They're on the move, heading towards the baseball, have the ability to throw off balance on almost every play. And you're seeing that a lot here at the major league level now. Zach Neto, very special. Wash and Zach have a great relationship. It's fun to watch Sunday mornings before anybody's in here, where Neto's out there taking ground balls, and Wash has got his glove on, taking ground balls with him at short. Get out of the way, young buck. I'll show you how it's done. It's fantastic. Wash to me is such a breath of fresh air in this game of baseball where everything is so structured and already scripted. To have a guy like Wash whose eyeballs are still giving him intel, giving him information on how this game should be played. Barry Enright, our pitching coach, I rarely see him go to the mound. It's Wash that goes to the mound. If there's a message to be delivered, it's going to be Wash that's going to deliver it. And I've talked to him many times. He's flat out goes out and tells him, "Hey, I got that bullpen's hot. Do I need to use it now, or can you get me through this inning? Can you get through this hitter?" And every pitcher goes, "Yes, I can." And it pumps up these guys that are on the mound. You don't see that in the game. Anytime a manager comes out of a dugout in the game today, the bullpen's door is already open and on the end. When Wash goes out there, everybody doesn't know. And certainly I always tell the visiting broadcasters, just because Wash goes out there, don't think there's a pitching change coming because he's going to go on and deliver a message. So what Wash has been able to do, you saw it for a lot of years in Oakland. Marcus Semien comes to mind. I mean, what he was able to do with Marcus Semien on a guy that had 36 errors, and next thing you know, that guy's a Gold Glover, says everything. I always call him the infield whisperer because that's what he does best. I see the work effort that he does. He's the manager of this ball club, but he's the first guy on that field every day, just waiting for anybody to come out and make eye contact with him. So let's go to work. Nobody works harder than Wash. And it's refreshing to see in this game of baseball, again, that's so scripted and the analytics are so present, to see a guy that still has that baseball gut and he's going to make decisions on his gut and what his eyes are telling him.
Do you ever get a chance to talk to the pitchers?
I went to spring training this year for 5 days, and we had a meet. All the pitchers were in a room one time, and I wasn't even supposed to speak. Gooby was in there speaking. And I couldn't take it anymore. Finally, I had to raise my hand and go, all right, and lay out my little spiel that I see. And to me, the one thing that I wanted them to get across is you always got to remember when you're on the mound, you are still competing. It's not whether your wrist needs to be 2 degrees over to the right or the left, or your spin rate is down, or the shape of that pitch didn't work out. No, you have to still remember it's me versus that guy in the batter's box. Don't ever forget it. And you have to, all that stuff is fantastic for when you do your side sessions. You can gather that intel and get all that information and work on things. When you step between those lines and there's a guy in a different colored uniform standing in there, you have got to be ready to go to war with that guy and forget all the other stuff that you've learned. You don't totally discard it, but it can't be first and foremost. It still has to be that competitive heart that's pounding in you.
I always bring up golf because golf was the first one that was using TrackMan late 80s, early 90s, because they were selling golf clubs, right? They were the first sport really to you all. So I always say it's like we got these guys on the range and they sit there on the range, and every single time they hit, they look back at TrackMan and they can see the numbers. But by the way, once you go to the first hole to tee it up, those numbers don't mean anything anymore because you got to be able to score. You got to have short game. You got to be able to putt. You got to get out of bunkers. There's all these. You got to hit draws. You got to hit fades. Yeah, the TrackMan doesn't matter anymore. And so when I look at our pitchers are all like golfers on the range, right? They're so concerned with the numbers, but it's like once you go out there, you got to get out. Whether your arm feels good, doesn't feel good, you got to get outs. And guys like you learned how to read hitters. You saw what they look like in the batter's box. You looked at their swings. It's like all of our pitchers are so concerned with their numbers that they don't read and see their eyes what's going on in front of them.
I couldn't agree with you more. Yes. Back in the day, we didn't have people call pitches. We didn't have any of that stuff. It was all you had to read. And I tell all the young pitchers, every time you release the baseball, you're getting intel back from that hitter. If you're hunting a certain specific zone and you're pounding it hard, you want to see how fast he is inside. You throw inside. You'll see how quick he is. And if he's really quick inside, he may have some problems with slower stuff or off-speed stuff on that outside part of the plate. Or you throw it on that outside part of the plate and they cover it, they're on it. They're going to have a harder time with something hard in. So look, every time you throw a pitch, you get intel back. And that's what we did. We had to read the intel based on the hitter. You had a game plan, what you wanted to do, how you wanted to attack them. But that game plan may be wadded up, after the third pitch going, number one's not there, so how do I get people out? And that's the most important thing, too, is yes, everything on paper, when you sit down, you talk about it. This is the way we're going to do it. We're going to carve them up this way. And you get out there, and that first dude, you make that pitch, and that dude hits that laser beam off that left center field fence. You've got to go, maybe this isn't the right game plan. But how am I going to be able to stay out here and survive this? So you've got to constantly be ready to make adjustments on the fly, instantaneously. And to me, again, the analytics are fantastic. And I've had long talks with Joe Madden about all of this stuff, who was kind of like the godfather of sabermetric stuff. And he's always said it's great for evaluating talent when you're getting talent in, but it's hard to use on a day-to-day basis. It's really difficult to use on a day-to-day basis. I watch the way, the infield, the way people are set up. There's no creativity whatsoever. If there's a left-handed hitter, our shortstop's playing up the middle, our second baseman's over into the hole. We got a power guy tonight. Jose Soriano's good. He can touch 100 tonight. Power sinker. Sometimes not everybody in that lineup's going to be able to yank that ball or pull that ball. And you always feel like we got maybe some people that are out of position based on who is this guy on the mound. And I know they crunched all the data, and most of the outs are going to be in these respectable places. But I still like to kind of be creative. In the old days where, they would look in, they would see that ball's live today and start cheating over a little bit more and try to cover some spaces where they know as hitters, that guy's not going to be able to cover that ball. I got to move over instead of the X says for me to play right on this spot, and they do it night after night. We're not the only team. Everybody does it. And sometimes it gets frustrating because I just see it getting beat when you feel like a guy made a great pitch, and all of a sudden that thing's going beep, 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 dripping through, and there's only one guy on the left side of the infield, and he can't get it, and you're like, wow. If he would have been over a couple steps, maybe that play's made. So it is what it is.
We just had the great Jim Palmer on the show up in Sacramento. He had a decent little career when you look at his baseball reference page. Yeah, he was okay.
Yes.
And he was talking
I had
about
a poster of him on my wall when I was a kid, and I tell him about that every time I see him. It's like, and he goes, I know, you had a poster of me. Yeah, because it was Jim Palmer, Juan Marichal, and Vida Blue. Those were the three guys that really influenced my leg kick, and I kind of morphed in between. In college, when I was at San Jose State, I probably looked like Vida Blue. I tried to mimic everything Vida Blue did as far as use your legs and try to use your body that much. But Jim Palmer was a big influence. So I love it, that you got to connect with Jim Palmer because he's the best.
Well, I told him in every department store I went to as a kid, he was in tighty whities when I went in there my entire life. So but we were talking about it. He goes, these pitchers, they show you everything in the first inning. He goes, back in my day, threw a fastball outside. Can he hit it? Well, if he can't hit it, I throw it again and I throw it again until he proves he can hit it. And then by the third, fourth at bat, now you're seeing all this different stuff. And I'm like, man, if Jim Palmer could, and guys like yourself could just talk to these guys. By the way, I could do this all day. Thank you so much for your time. Obviously, you got a game to call. You're very generous, and we always love having you on. As I tell everybody, not only was he one of the top baseball players, but in all of Santa Clara County, he was one of the top soccer players, athletes back in your day. I always remind him, just not great baseball, also great soccer.
Oh, I had a blast playing that sport. Loved it. Loved every second of it. And it's always great to reflect and go back in time. But thank you again for having me. Always great chatting with you. I love catching up, talking baseball.
The greatest San Jose State Spartan baseball player of all time, no question. Have a great broadcast, and we'll talk to you soon, my friend. You be well.
Okay, Chris. Great talking with you, buddy.
The great Mark Langston right here on A's Cast Live.
All right, let's get Johnny D on quickly because he's been waiting patiently.
Was this the end of the show?
Yeah, there's Johnny D.
Hi, Johnny D.
Hey, Chris.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm getting reports. Everything's great with Sachs.
Good. God, good. I know.
His daughter's been texting me. Things are good with our good friend. He was he's having a procedure today, but things are going great with the Steve Sachs. Mark Langston. Hey, that's a great San Jose State Spartan right there.
That's a great one. I'm talking to a great San Jose Spartan right now, but I love Langston. Last night he came in, Towny, and he said that was the greatest catch I've ever seen. And for him to say that, like, that guy's been around. That guy's seen a lot of great players in his day. So that was pretty cool that Langston said that.
Johnny, we've got to stop saying it's the best catch because you don't know what he's going to do tonight.
I know, you're right.
Or the next night, or that. I can't remember the last time. All right, quickly, we got to be quick. Hot Take Tuesday.
Here, I'll just stand right here.
Okay, Hot Take Tuesday. Johnny, what do you got?
Okay, my hot take, and I was talking to Jenny and Ken about this too. My hot take is that the American League West will have 3 all-star shorts. All 3 shortstops in the all-star game will represent in the AL West, and they'll play different positions. It'll be Pena, Wilson, and Neto. 3 shortstops in the American League will represent the all-star game. I'm not even counting Bobby Witt, but in the West, there will be 3. There will be 3.
That's pretty good.
So is Bobby Witt not making it?
Well, Bobby Witt's going to make it. There's going to have other positions for these guys. That's the thing. Neto's going to make it. Pena's going to make it. Wilson's going to make it.
Just because you are elected into the All-Star game to help your hot take doesn't mean you will be there. It is possible. Guys get hurt. Certain things happen. They take certain guys. You're just saying where's the All-Star game? Atlanta? When this game kicks off in Atlanta and they line the players up and they introduce the players, 3 shortstops will be in uniform at the All-Star game in Atlanta.
Yes.
Okay, I like it.
Josh Naylor will be the biggest name traded at the deadline.
Say it again.
Josh Naylor will be the biggest name traded at the deadline.
Wow, that is a hot take.
He had the walk-off grand slam last night, and he's
the
a free
D-backs are going to trade him?
They're under 500 right now, and they have injuries, and I think
Torey Lovello's throwing out the white towel?
Not saying yet, but it could be. I think Naylor biggest name traded at the deadline.
I hate the Yankees. But I am so you and your Tarek Scooble this and Scooble that. Max Fried has had to step up like no free agent. When's the last time a guy's had to step up like this? The big horse goes down with Tommy John surgery. You're a free agent of the New York Yankees. Juan Soto's left. You're the big prize, and you're 6-0 with a 0.57 ERA after the Yankees lose. 6-0. I got to go quick. Max Fried will win, and I hate the Yankees. Max Fried will win and deserve the American League Cy Young Award.
That is a hot take when people consider how much you despise.
Hate him.
Stripes.
But Max Fried, what he's doing, I mean, think about that.
Harvard Westlake product. Harvard Westlake, local
There's
product.
a lot of them, Johnny. Johnny, thank you.
Johnny, have a great call, buddy.
All right, thanks, buddy.
All right, coming up next, Johnny D and Ken Korak. We got to go.
Yep.
I'll see you in a half hour. Ace Cast on NBC Sports California. I'm off tomorrow. We don't have a game Thursday, and we'll be back on Friday at what time?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. We'll be back Friday at 3 o'clock.
Tickets for that day's game will open up daily at 9 a.m. for purchase at athletics.com/lawn. Sign up to receive A's alerts to receive a text the first morning of each home series as a reminder. For more information, visit athletics.com/lawn.